Hello, welcome to Mage Talk, the Magento Community Podcast. I'm Kalen, and I'm joined by a very special guest today, Riccardo Tempesta, out of Italy. Riccardo, how are you doing, sir?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm one of the first person ever that pronounced my name in the right way.
Well, I speak Spanish, so that's the only way
Yeah,
I was
so
able
great.
to do it. So I have to first off, what is this thing in the corner? Oh, I know what that is. I have to first off give an official apology because this is the first time we've really talked in person. And back a few years ago, we scheduled a Mage Talk event at Imagine, and it conflicted with one of your talks. We did it by accident, and I know you're completely over it and probably forgot about it, but I have to apologize. And also, I have to apologize that it took me so long to apologize. So,
Yes, but yeah. Actually, it's your problem because Italian mafia. It can be dangerous, honestly, to make an Italian upset. So I'm joking. I remember that, but there's no way to not overlap someone at that event.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I think your book was much more interesting than mine, so no
I
problem.
I doubt it. I very much doubt it. It was a security. It was a talk on security, right?
Yeah, so it's boring. It was boring for
Yeah.
sure. I'm pretty sure that your event was much more funny.
Yeah. By the way, have you heard of the show on Prime Video? I don't know if they have. Do they have Prime Video in Italy?
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, we
Have you
we
heard of?
also have internet. Can you imagine?
You have internet,
Yeah, sure.
you've heard you've heard of Google and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard about something like Google should be a kind of. Is that a glasses or?
It's
Oh
yeah,
no, it's. Oh,
it's like a yeah, yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
joking.
have you
Yeah.
heard of coffee?
Yeah. So
You've
no.
heard of
Yeah.
you've heard of coffee as
No.
well.
No. No.
We're gonna talk all about your whole coffee situation. But yeah, there's a show called 000. Have you heard about that on?
Oh yeah, zero. Yeah, heard about that. Actually, on another. I don't know if I have on Prime Video, but it's on another on-demand service. But honestly, I never started it. I have so many TV
Yeah,
series
too many to
to
watch.
watch.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah, so
intense. It's very intense, and it's interesting because there's like there's a piece of it there. I'm not going to get too much into it, but basically there's people in Italy, there's people in Mexico and in the U.S., and it goes back and forth between them, and then everything is in the original language. So there's a lot of Italian, and then it's all subtitled.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, a ton of
Uh-huh.
Italian and stuff like that. So, anyways, and they're like mobsters. It's like yeah, they're like basically mobsters and stuff like that. So
Okay,
that's what it
I
made
see.
me think of when you told me that I might need to watch out for the Italian mob. You know. Um,
Okay.
but anyways, so we want to talk about lots of stuff to talk about. This is in our kind of series on remote work. I think there's a lot to cover there. Oh, by the way,
Oh,
I just saw the news recently that I don't know if you consider it an acquisition or an investment in
oh,
your
yeah.
company. So congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you.
Um, and actually, maybe if you want to explain a little bit about that, that'd be interesting.
Oh yeah, it's quite boring, but I will try to make the long story short. Yeah, so basically it's not an acquisition, so we just gave away the 51%. So basically this company is controlling our company. It's a quite huge one. It's a digital company and made by hundreds of people. It's quite big. So we are working with this company since I don't know maybe 5 years, 6 years. So it's a long story. And so we decided to make this step because inside this company we also have other colleagues and other companies that are making our same jobs but maybe different aspects. So you got because my company is it's mostly a delivery company. So basically we write code and so on. So it's a tech company. Inside this group, we also have people managing web marketing, for example, or stuff like that. So
The
it's
parent
something
company.
that completes our company. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
So they decided to buy the 51% of my company, but we're still an independent company. I'm still managing my company, and I will keep managing it for probably a long time. And they asked us to keep in the management, of course. And it's a great step for me. So it was quite tough because it's 1 year we're talking about this acquisition, and and the COVID situation was not so helpful to 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 make it real.
So you were
But
probably in
now finally we
discussions.
decided.
You were probably in discussions
Yeah,
before COVID happened, and then
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, we started last year in the summer, and we decided to make it happen on December. But the COVID virus decided in a different way, so
Mm-hmm.
we had to wait for to make it finish. So we made it a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Nice. That's
Yeah,
really
so
cool.
it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The coronavirus situation in Italy was obviously real intense, or I guess in some parts of Italy,
yeah,
um,
yeah, sure.
early
It
on, and
was in the north part of Italy was a kind of nightmare. They had a lot of people that died. It's quite, I don't want to talk so much about that because for them was a real nightmare.
yeah.
I am a part of one of the lucky guy that is living in a region that was not impacted. So we had very few cases, a bunch of people that died. So we have to consider ourselves just lucky.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't leave the COVID situation in first person, to be honest, because here I was a kind of, it seems like you're living in a movie. Because you see everything from newspapers and from TV, but
Mm-hmm.
you don't live by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You just see that no one is outside, no one is walking in the street. But it was just that. I mean, for me, it was just strange. It was not scary. So for other people, was as I said, a very.
Yeah.
But
Real
at the
nightmare.
very beginning, I was scared, to be honest, because you didn't know what was happening
Mm-hmm.
and if you were safe or not.
Yeah.
I have my parents, so I was, just I was thinking to them if so. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
but we are lucky at the end. So now our city is considered to be COVID free. So we had no contagion since I don't
Yeah.
remember how much time.
Yeah.
We still have to use masks, for example, but I don't see any good reason, honestly, now. I think it's just to avoid a second wave in October,
Mm-hmm.
just because people are scared.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, Italy is is a quite safe place now.
Mm-hmm.
So we have very few cases, absolutely very few cases.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have to say that we managed to face the situation quite well.
Yeah.
That is quite unexpected from Italy,
Mm-hmm.
unexpected from Italy to handle something in the right way. But for one time we did it.
There you go. Yeah, it's similar, I think, everywhere, and in the U.S. here, there's obviously some areas that are more heavily affected, and others where you don't, like you said, it's like you didn't really live it in the first person. But anyway, what's the name of the city that you live in, by the way?
Uh, the name is Perugia. It's the most central city in Italy.
Perugia. Okay.
It's exactly in the center.
I'm right in the center
Let's
of
say,
Texas. Austin is right in the
oh,
center of Texas. Yeah. So,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it's just slightly bigger, probably.
yeah.
I
A
mean,
little bigger.
Should be bigger. I don't know, probably one half of Europe, probably. I don't know.
Yeah,
I never
probably. It's
realized.
It's pretty ridiculous how big it is. Um,
Yeah, it's great.
yeah, most of the west side of Texas is sort of empty, um, but yeah, it's doesn't make any sense. It's just like way too big. Um, but anyways, so I don't know. Let's talk a little bit about. Maybe you've been in the Magento community for a long time. Magento Master. Which year were you a master?
2019 and 2020.
Mm.
So I'm still a master.
Oh, 2 years. Okay,
But
yeah.
to be honest, yeah, 2 years. But to be honest, I'm not very old community member because I started
Because
with
you're
the
on your,
community.
only in your early 30s. So you're
Say again, I'm sorry.
no. Sorry, I said you're not very old because you're only in your early 30s.
Yeah, thank you. Probably, yeah. You have to add some, yeah, probably 10 years more. But yeah, I'm 40. But thank you anyway. No, but I started in maybe 4 years ago.
Oh, really?
Uh, yeah, 4 years ago. I don't remember exactly. It was my first speech was in Czech Republic. So
Mm.
yeah, probably yeah 2016 or 2017,
Mm.
stuff like that.
Nice.
Uh, but I'm working with Magento since 2008, so it's quite long. So I stayed in the shadow for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
I'm a shy guy.
You're a shy guy.
No,
and
I'm not. I'm joking.
how long have you been in business? And your company is called Mage Specialist.
Well, not exactly. I mean, everyone knows it as Mage Specialist, but Mage Specialist is a brand. The company name is a Skiller.
Wow.
We decided to have this separation between, the company name and the brand because we didn't want to be stuck with one brand and
Right.
with one product. For example, in this specific case, it's
Right.
Magento, of course, because Mage Specialist, you can imagine, we are not selling WordPress. But no, I'm in the business since I was 20, 21.
Nice.
So it was 2001, and well, 22 actually. And I created my previous company that was acquired by this new one. And yeah, so I'm working, but yeah, with the company. But I'm in the business since I was 18. So I
In the
was
same
still in the high
business
school.
or in the same exact
Yeah,
business?
in the same business.
Wow.
No, in the same business, but I didn't create my company. I
Oh,
didn't yet create my company, so I was just a freelance.
gotcha.
I was still in the high school, so I decided to make something because I always, liked computer science in general. And at that time, internet was a quite new thing. It was 97, 96, 97.
Mm.
So very few people had internet. So I started at very early stage
Mm-hmm.
of it.
Yeah. Nice. Have you been? Are you guys remote team or more in person?
We're now a remote team
Okay.
because
So
previously
you're
we were,
COVID remote. COVID remote.
yeah, exactly. But we will we stay as a remote company now because we were, let's call it traditional company. We were a traditional company, but we wanted to try the remote working we tried for a couple of weeks some years ago, and we didn't like it so much. But the COVID forced us of course, to go full remote for 3 months. And we actually liked this time, probably because we are bigger, we are ready to be remote. Because most of the people think that a remote company is much easier to handle. Actually, I think it's much harder to handle because you have to correctly handle your tasks. You have to use the right tools. So it's not so easy. But now it seems like we were ready because we liked it, and we also increased our productivity. So we decided to stay as a remote company.
That's
And now
interesting.
so well, honestly, when I say remote, actually I mean smart company. And when I say smart company, at least in Italy, means you can work. I think it has the same meaning, of course, but it means you can work, yeah, from home or go at the office if you like.
Okay.
So we still have an office. So if you want to work there because you You don't have the air conditioning like me now at home, for example, and you want to go to the office, you can go there.
Yeah.
Or if you have your little baby running in the home while you're working, and try to click and press every single key you have in the keyboard because your father is touching the keyboard and you want to do the same. Yes, you can go to the office if you want to.
Right.
It's not direct experience, of course. It's one friend of mine that told me this.
Yeah, a friend of yours. That friend needs to work on their setup. And how big is your team?
Do you mean my old company? I mean, the current company, Skiller. Skiller is almost 20 people.
20 people, okay.
It's a quite small company. The world.
And you're still a separate. You're still a separate company. I mean, you're. Although I'm sure that
because the
company invested in you combined is probably
massive. They took the 51%, so it is a still independent company, but they have full control. Will probably be acquired in the next 10 years, probably. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It depends on how it goes. Mm-hmm. But
I love how
I think it will
open you are about everything. Like I don't know if it's a business culture thing in the U.S., but everything is so kind of secretive about acquisitions and things like that. Like I don't know. It's like you never say anything about.
I don't. There is no secrets because it was published on the internet that we have been, let's say, not acquired, but they have the 51%.
No,
I
know, but I mean like when you said that maybe we'll be acquired within 10 years. I don't know.
No, maybe it's just my idea because it's what usually happen in these cases.
Yeah. Yeah. You said something that was really interesting to me. You said that your productivity increased when you went remote, and I'm curious to learn a little bit more about that. How did you measure that? Like, tell me a little more about that productivity increase.
Yes, the first stage it was an impression. So it was a feeling. I'm sorry, it was a feeling that productivity was increased. But then we started seeing that we managed to close more tasks. We managed to go live with two very hard projects, two Magento websites that were very tough. So we saw actually that the people was feeling better because we also see that all the guys in my company were happier to be working from home, to not stay at the office. I don't know how much was because it was a kind of new way to work, or if they were actually happy because working from home make you happier. I have no idea. But I will see, of course. But yeah, we saw that basically we were able to manage much more activities. And people were more concentrated. So this is the way we measured. We had no other ways. So
you could just tell people were more productive and happier.
Yeah, absolutely. But I see them happier. Honestly, that is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of like happiness and stuff like that, and like you were mentioning, not being sure, is this a short-term thing? Are they just excited because it's new versus it's really
I don't know,
long-term? Like
this is why we want to go in a smart mode way, not only remote, because we, for example, now people are starting telling me, hey, we have to see each other. Because we don't see each other
we
since
miss
3 months.
Seeing people,
because in our offices, it was a quite funny environment. So everyone was joking. So it was very relaxed. So everyone was a friend. We were used to go and play football together, stuff like that. Go out and eat pizza together. We also had the LAN party at lunchtime, for example.
Nice.
So it was quite, it was a quite relaxed environment, and they're missing, I think. It was like a classroom,
like a classroom, like a school classroom.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. When you were at school, so it was something like that. So probably people are missing now that feeling and that environment.
Usually, I think
So
of classroom as being like kind of boring. Like,
oh
you
yeah,
know,
it is usually, but our classroom was funny.
it was like a fun classroom.
Yeah, exactly. Come on.
Gotcha.
No, I
Um,
mean what I was meaning. I sometimes I have problem translating what I think in English. So what I mean is when you miss, for example, your classroom mate. Of course,
mhm.
even at work can be boring, for example, but you can miss a colleague, of course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
I think like the way that maybe what you meant like for us like when like I think of like when I was in like college or you call university,
yeah,
you think of that as being more fun than when you get into work, kind of a thing.
yeah, maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's what I mean exactly.
okay.
So
Yeah.
now we're trying to make some barbecue together. We're trying to plan some barbecue together, some activity like that, or to go and play, for example, airsoft or stuff like that. So just to make people together, to make
Airsoft
stay
is
to
the
make
is the like
together.
is the
Yeah,
like paintball type thing.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly,
Do
or
you got?
paintball stuff like
Yeah.
that. You know?
Do you do that? Do you play airsoft?
Oh, I love it.
Oh yeah.
I love it. Yeah,
Nice. I
I
haven't
love it.
done that yet. It's
Now, yeah, I don't have any more time. With a small baby, it's quite tough to wake up early in the morning and a Sunday.
yeah.
So it's but
How long
I was used to go.
have you done that for a while?
Oh yeah, I don't know, maybe 10 years. So
Nice.
it's
So
it was
you're probably
actually, to
pretty
be
good.
honest, I also have very few people know about that, but I also have another company that it's a very small company that was created more for fun than for business. But now it's becoming probably much more a business like. That is a laser tag company creating the laser tag systems. So basically it's a kind of
Oh,
airsoft
laser
but made
tag.
with yeah, exactly. Sorry
Gotcha.
for my
No,
pronunciation.
I
So and
apologize
we
if I
create
ever
stuff like that
misunderstood.
for the outdoor playing. It's a kind of airsoft, but with laser.
Nice.
But it's yeah. So I love it, but I don't have any more time to
Do you do
to
you
go and play.
does the laser tag business you actually have a location where people can go
No,
to
it's
play?
it's slightly different because our version is for the outdoor play,
Uh-huh.
for the outdoor game.
Uh-huh.
So you play outdoor.
Okay. So the business
It's not.
doesn't own a location. Do you own like
No, no, no.
land or how does it?
We create the electronic equipment to make it.
Oh, oh. So you actually
So it's
manufacture or you source
exactly.
the electronic equipment?
Oh, we actually manufacture, yeah.
Really?
And I wrote the entire firmware of that stuff. So every single line of code of firmware of that stuff, I wrote in my free time before the
No
baby.
way.
Yes, but it's a kind of no, it's
Dude,
not
that's
it's not
so
a
cool.
business. It's
Huh?
not a so big business.
It's
So
like a side
it was
project.
more a
It's like for
game.
fun.
Yeah, exactly. Now we have no more time even to play or to work on it anymore.
Right.
But yeah, 5 years ago I was very focused on it. It was very funny,
What did
you
you
know.
write did you write in assembly or what did you write the firmware in?
No, it was C++, plus plus,
Oh, okay.
just recompiled on. Yeah, it was. So it
This is how little
was
I
a
know about anything outside of PHP. Is like, what did you write it in
okay,
assembly?
great. You have a lot of shades in the middle between PHP and assembly.
Yeah, there's a couple layers, right?
Yeah, just a couple. Yeah, so
That's so cool,
it was
man.
a kind of funny, but sometimes I just change my focus from PHP to other languages or technologies to have some
That's cool.
fun.
It's funny.
Yeah,
I had this thought the other day. A lot of a lot of developers like to do that, experiment with other languages, and a lot of people say, you really should experiment with different languages because you learn a lot. You learn how to think differently, and I definitely respect people that do that. Like, it's impressive to me, but I've never really done that. Like, I mean, I learned C, I learned Pascal when I was, learning
Oh,
development,
Pascal. Oh my
but
God.
yeah, but once
What?
I got into PHP, as far as server side, that's pretty much all I've done. And I had this thought literally yesterday, and I tweeted it. I was like, dude, I'm gonna be doing PHP 50 years from now. Like, I'm just, that's all I'm gonna do is PHP. And it was just, I don't know, it was just funny because, I think it's cool to
Yeah.
do other stuff. I just don't know if I'll ever do that.
Yeah, I love to explore. So now, for example, my new focus is Node.js.
Nice.
I'm more focused, yeah. So I love it, but it depends. I also like, for example, Python or more strange languages like Ruby, stuff like that. So I like
Why
to change time
why
by
is
time.
Ruby a strange language?
No, I'm joking. This is a kind of joke between me and one colleague of mine because I say that Python and Ruby are strange languages
Okay.
because of the indentation. So
Because
they're
of the
crazy.
what? The indentation?
Especially Python, the indentation. Yeah,
Oh,
Python. In Python, you don't have when you create a method, for example, in PHP, you have to open your brackets and
right.
close your
Right.
brackets is the right
Brackets.
term. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
brackets. Okay. In Python, you don't have brackets. So it depends on the indentation.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of it's crazy
It
because
is.
when you
I've run
read the
into
code,
some weird, but like I use Fabric, or I used to use Fabric for
oh,
deploys. So that's the only Python I do. And I run
yeah.
into
So
some weird indentation stuff.
now I only use Python for my home automation system.
Really?
So it's yeah, I
Dude,
think it's the only.
you're like a Tony Stark, man. You're like
Oh
an
yeah, well, I got yeah. All my home is totally automated, so
that's
I
wild.
can. Yes, I decided to play a couple of weeks. So I decided to study IoT, and for a couple of weeks, and I changed all the equipment in my house. So I rewired everything, and so it's now I have voice control over everything in my
That's
house. My wife says that probably the house will kill us in the night because and the microwave will probably sue us for some kind of reason. But yeah, so
sue us.
yeah,
That's
no, it's
hilarious.
crazy because yeah.
That's so
Oh no,
funny.
it's totally crazy because when you say this, okay, it's cool to have a fully automated house
Yeah.
until you introduce a bug in your house, and
Yeah.
this is not a joke. I had a bug,
Uh,
so in my Python script, and so basically you were turning on a light, and I don't know there was a kind of race condition, so the light was starting to blink. It was like a kind of disco, so it was crazy because you wake up in the night with a blinking light.
really?
It was crazy. Yeah.
So it
So
literally woke you guys up in the middle of the night, blinking.
yeah,
Like,
no, it happened. Yeah, it happened. Yeah, it's
that's funny.
well, to be totally honest, it's happening even now sometimes.
Oh, is it?
It's because there is still a bug. Yeah, sometimes, but usually one per month. But it's scary.
So,
Now I'm trying to fix, but I don't have time to fix it. So my wife is becoming
it
crazy.
sounds like your wife must be really happy with you. Very,
Yeah, she's
very.
always happy when she's scaring every time that Amazon when Amazon comes bringing some new stuff. She's just scared. Oh my God, what is now?
That's
No,
funny,
it's
man.
crazy. Yeah, yeah. This is
God.
this is my way of
This
yeah,
is
of playing. Or
uh,
yeah,
uh, um.
you know,
So
I'm 40, but I'm still a young boy.
yeah, you're in your young 30s, pretty much. You're in your
Yeah, no,
early
I think
teens.
I'm an oldie, an older teens probably.
Yeah.
I can demonstrate. Wait me for a
Okay.
minute. I can
Okay.
demonstrate.
Okay.
This is this is what I got for my birthday.
By the way, the whatchamacallit, your fancy blur Skype blur filter is
Oh, I'm
blurring it a
sorry.
little, but
This is
I
the
can see
Lego
it.
block.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like a Lego block. This is to demonstrate to you. I'm just
Just a
a
kid.
boy
Kid
that
at
has
heart.
40 years.
That's
I'm a
awesome.
kid.
So the home automation system, how? Because most people just use Alexa with Philips Hue light bulbs or something. I'm getting the sense that you went a little lower level than that.
No, I got an interface with Google, of course, and Alexa,
Uh huh.
but I prefer Alexa, to be honest.
Uh huh. But
Yeah.
so, but are you writing your own, or like why? Well, like where's the bug exactly if you're just using regular smart bulbs
Uh,
connected to Google or Alexa?
yes, it was because at the very early stage of my home automation system, I was not using any software ready in the community, so I decided to write my own,
Uh huh.
and it was a central control system of the all lights and all
Mm-hmm.
switches,
Mm-hmm.
and since I wanted to remap each switch to each light. So I wanted, for example, to use one switch to turn on another light. So I had this central system to coordinate the whole system. And I had a bug.
Oh, okay.
So basically there was a queue and the message was repeating continuously on, off, on, off, on, off. So basically the system was just loop and crash. But
So,
now I decided to move to an open source project
uh,
and just write a plugin
uh,
in this open source project that is called Home Assistant. That is
nice,
much better. In fact,
nice.
as you can see, my light is still on
That's
now.
very impressive. Your lights are just on.
Yeah,
There's no
absolutely.
blinking.
No,
It's
especially because, to be honest, here this is the only room where I don't have any automation system. This is why this is still on, probably.
okay. Nice. I completely lost my train. Oh, I have a random question. When we're talking about open source automation systems, are you into like gardening at all? Do you guys have a garden? Do you grow your own vegetables, that kind of thing? Is that common in Italy, in your backyard or anything
Say
like
again, I'm
that?
sorry. I
Oh,
didn't understand what you mean.
do you
Sorry.
have a garden like in your backyard where you
Uh,
grow vegetables and stuff like that?
Okay. Well, I decided to solve in a different way. I have no backyard.
Oh, no backyard.
So,
Oh, okay.
no, I don't have backyard.
Oh, okay. Got it. Got it. Got it.
No,
Got it. Yeah, I was just because
no, no.
we were you gonna say something, or that's all you're?
No, no,
Oh,
absolutely. No.
the reason I asked was because we've been starting to do a little bit of. I think a lot of people have started to do their own gardens because of COVID and supply chain stuff and wanting to have some of their own food or whatever. And somebody in the Magento community told me about this open source automation for gardening. Basically, there's a hardware
Oh, I'm
device.
sorry. I totally misunderstood what you were meaning. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
okay.
Yeah,
I know it was a
my,
very
my
random
English.
question.
No, it's yeah. I don't know if I correctly understood now, but yeah, I have a camera system outside
Okay.
that is connected with my internal alarm system, for example,
Uh-huh.
and I have a perimeter check
Oh,
of
okay.
so.
Nice.
And for example, if someone, if let's say, but here in Italy, for example, for deliveries, that I think it was the main concern you were talking about for people delivering goods at home. You were meaning, or okay. So basically, they're, for example, Amazon now is just leaving something in front of your door. They're authorized to. Usually, you have to sign when you receive something, but
Mm-hmm.
now because of the COVID, they simply leave there. And I have my camera system that is watching where they leave something, and I
Uh,
also have presence detection. So I
what is it? What kind of detection?
is a
Presence?
basically yeah, presence detection. So when someone, for example, stays near my home, I receive a message in my Telegram with a picture.
Nice. Does it do like facial detection or it just detects
No,
like
I
a
didn't. I didn't have face detection, but yeah, I could implement actually because my
Oh,
other the other thing I like it was, well, actually, when I was younger, I liked to play with computer vision.
Oh,
But
really?
honestly, yeah, I'm not playing with computer vision since, I don't know, maybe 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
10, 15 years.
Nice.
But now it's simply sending me a picture.
Nice.
This is why I say that my wife is becoming crazy. It's too many automations. She's always fighting with that.
That's funny, man. Let's see here. I was curious on the going back to your team and
Yeah,
your company and working remotely um, with COVID and stuff like that, and trying to. I think this is a problem everyone is facing. Is like, how do you create the the events, the ways to get together as a team, and to bond, things like that. Do you guys have any ideas for how to do that? I think you
we are still
mentioned maybe a
working.
barbecue, getting it for a barbecue or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to be honest, we are still working on that. Right now, we just had some, video game event
Mm-hmm.
that is still a remote event. So we are all my team, like for example, to the first-person shooters. So sometimes we play together
Nice.
just to rebuild the team and to be friends out of the office. But now for example, I don't see people since 4 months. I mean, in person.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're trying to, yeah, you're right, to organize a barbecue
Mm-hmm.
and to have them all in one place. We're still thinking on how to address it because now it's becoming crucial. Because as I told you before, all my team was used to be in the same office, and it was quite relaxed environment. So now we have to face it in a different way, and we are starting thinking also to have someone, maybe someone that can give us some suggestion on how to address it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough, I think.
Some
But
consultant.
oh, you're thinking about hiring a consultant to help you.
Yeah, maybe,
That's a cool.
yeah.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah,
So
for team building and stuff like that.
yeah, that's interesting. So you guys basically play video games together, like as a way
Yeah, we
to.
do.
That's really cool. Like,
Yeah.
it's really interesting, man. With video games, is that like like I used to play video games when I was a kid, and then I kind of stopped for a while, and then now they're kind of mainstream for people of all ages, and it's interesting that that's one of the primary ways to like socialize, just have fun together, um, remotely.
Yeah, because we were used when we were at the office,
Yeah,
so we try to keep this. And but at the office we were playing at lunchtime. Now we are playing in the evening
yeah,
when we have time and when we remember.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes we try to force people
Mm-hmm.
to play because we want to recreate this environment,
Yeah,
this relaxed environment.
yeah, that's really cool. I was actually
Because
talking. Uh huh.
I'm very scared when I think to. Well, actually, not scared. I can say that my only concern about remote working is that you lose the contact with the people and you have no idea on what the people think, if they are happy, not happy. You can just have feelings. Now the feelings is that the people are happy, but what will happen in 3 months? Yes, I can speak with them. I can have a video call. But being in person is different. You have an immediate feeling of what the people are thinking, what is the mood, if there is something wrong, and it's very important because especially for Italian people, because we are used to be very physical from this point of view. Uh, so it sounds strange, but you give hugs to your colleagues.
Yeah.
You say hello, give me five. Come on,
Yeah.
it's stuff like that. So I'm missing that part.
Yeah. It's a
And I think other
very
people
like
do this.
affectionate culture.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
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 And we have the same environment we had the same environment at the office, and we want make it happen again, still keeping the remote working. So
Yeah.
I think remote working is great, but you still have to keep in touch with a human dimension, with a physical dimension. So
Yeah.
that is the most challenging part, I think.
Yeah.
And we are still trying to understand, because we are quite new to this world. There are other companies, like, for example, the Italian Beatpool. You probably know them,
Mm-hmm.
Alessandro Ronchi and so on. They, for example, they have a longer history on remote working. They
Right.
have much more experience, but we don't have. So we are trying to build it from scratch.
Right.
And I have to say it's quite tough, especially if you see from the managing part, because you have to keep everything under control, and you cannot
Yeah.
have everything under control. So you have to.
I saw this tweet. It was that there was some kind of a study. I don't remember any of the details, but basically, it was saying that the individual employees, after working remotely, the individual employees were reporting more productivity, but the managers were reporting less productivity. And I was
Yeah,
really
could be.
interested to learn more about how that was measured and things like that. But I can sort of understand intuitively how it could feel that way, where the individuals can tell they're getting more work done, but then the managers feel like, what the hell's going on? You know?
I don't think it's exactly true, because it even depends on the individual. Because what I saw is that if you are a senior developer, for example, you have a higher productivity. If you are a junior developer, it's not so true. It depends. And when I say senior, I don't mean hard skills. I mean soft skills. From my perspective, you can be a senior developer and you started working with PHP last year. It depends on your mindset. This is my vision about senior and junior. So if you're the kind of person that can manage yourself, that is very serious when that takes seriously the job, then yes, your productivity will for sure increase, because you don't have any distraction. You're focused. You don't have to waste your time in the traffic in the morning, so on. But if you're a junior developer that needs someone near to be trained, it's not so true, honestly. From the managing perspective, I can understand, but I have the feeling that the reality is that most of the managers were not ready. Because usually remote working is something, at least here in Italy, is something that people think only the young people can do. And usually the managers are older people.
Mm-hmm.
And they think that working from home is some kind of misconception of the work. For example, we have some politicians here in Italy, and we all know that politicians are very wise people.
Yes, never make any mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. That are saying that working from home is not working, for example, because they are not able to understand. Because it's simply they are stuck to a kind of work that was probably after the World War II. I don't know what kind of work they think. So it's that kind of work. So I think most of the managers are still there. And when you find yourself from one day to another, like what happened in the COVID situation, working from home, and you're not ready, of course your productivity will go down immediately, of course. But honestly, we were quite lucky because we started without knowing to be a remote company inside our office. That basically we started using all the tools that usually are used in a remote company. So, for example, we started. We asked people to not, for example, stand up and go in another office to ask something to another guy, because simply you interrupt other people. So maybe that guy was busy and he doesn't want to be interrupted. So why don't you send him a Slack message? So when he's ready, he will answer you. So we started using, for example, Slack even for in-office communication, or use Jira. We use the Atlassian stack, for example, for the task management. And we started to use in the right way. We started using a Scrum approach. So we basically were ready to be a remote company from the process perspective.
Right. That's
But
interesting.
most of the other companies are not.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
At least here in Italy.
Oh yeah.
Here in Italy, sometimes they say, okay, I'm remote working from home. Okay, how do you work from home? I get my phone. I pick up and answer calls.
Mm-hmm.
That is not remote
Right.
work. That is a
Exactly.
vacation.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 It's there's so many people that I mean it's tools, it's process, it's mindset, it's really philosophy. It's a philosophy of not interrupting people. There's so much that goes into it, and everybody's trying to learn this as fast as they can. Some people are much further along than others, and it's hard.
For example, another very challenging part from this perspective is training and recruiting.
I was just going to ask about that because you mentioned junior developers versus senior, and I'm curious if a lot of agency strategy is to hire junior developers and to train, especially if you have an office, is to hire junior developers and train them. Is that generally your hiring strategy versus hiring senior?
Yes, it was in a certain period of my company. It was the strategy to hire junior developers, but now we are trying to hire senior developers.
Okay.
But as I told you before, when I say senior, I mean from the mindset perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, we don't care so much about the hard skills because I am sure. I think that when you have the right mindset,
Mm-hmm.
it's not so hard to learn a new language and a new technology. It's just a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure you will learn it. You will be able to use it in the right way. But if you don't have the right mindset, you can be even the most skilled developer in the world, but you will fail sooner or later. So we try to have junior developers from the skills perspective, and we managed to train while we were at the office. We had kind of classrooms to train people, and plus formation on the job. Now we don't have it anymore. But finding senior developers from the hard skills perspective is very tough. Finding junior, especially here in my city, for example, it's a city with a very famous university, so we have a lot of young people that can be interesting. But of course, we have to train them, and now it's quite challenging to find a way to train them being remote. So this is another reason why we still have an office, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we're trying to open our how can I say, our landscape. I mean, taking people from other cities. For example, now our next project manager is coming from Rome, not from Perugia. This was something impossible just 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting.
So,
I was also curious about time zone. Like when you mentioned that you guys can play games together and stuff together. I was actually talking to my buddy Eric yesterday about his company, and he was saying that they were trying to get together for a game night, like to play, I don't know, some kind of game, board games or something, or maybe video games. I don't know. But he said that it was complicated to find the right time, and he has a company that's remote all over the world, all different time zones. I think it's interesting. There's so many flavors of remote, and like you're saying, a smart company, which is kind of hybrid in office or remote. There's something really nice about being remote but all being in the same time zone or even the same city or the same country, in the same, small country or whatever, because you can
this is what is happening to us. For example, we are a remote company in the same city.
Yeah.
So I think that the most far guy is, I don't know, 30 kilometers from here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very close.
Yeah. And then
but
that
we are
also
working in
gives you the
remote.
opportunity that you're on the same time. You don't have time zone problems, because time zone problems
No,
is a
absolutely.
whole different category of a problem that a lot of
Yeah.
people can learn how to deal with, but it's there's a learning curve. And then also, if you want to get together for events, you can do that. Like, that's an option for you, um,
Yes, we
which is
can
interesting.
do.
Yeah. Um,
We can do. We also have the same problem in a smaller way, of course, because Italy is a small country. But to move, for example, from Milan to my city, it can take 5 hours.
yeah.
So, organizing events is not so easy if you stay in different cities, because for example, connections in Italy are not airplane driven. Usually, are train driven.
Mm-hmm.
In the US, you usually move, I think, using airplanes. Here in Italy, it's quite uncommon to take a plane to fly from Rome to Milan.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, you take a train, so
How
you
long
have
is the
longer
train ride?
time to
How long is the train ride from Rome to Perugia?
from Rome to Perugia is maybe 1 hour,
Oh,
probably
oh, okay.
1 hour. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
So it's
close.
quite close. It depends on the kind of train, of course. The high-speed train is, yeah, probably 1 hour. Otherwise, it's one day. I don't know. No, I'm joking.
Oh,
It depends on the efficiency you find. But yes, now we have the 99% of the people here in Perugia and the surrounding cities. The first guy that is onboarding at the beginning of the next month is coming from Rome, and it's the first one we are hiring outside our city, and it's pretty close even to Perugia. And now we are opening, of course, even outside, but especially after the acquisition of this new company, we're starting working with companies from other cities, because this company is countrywide. So they have I don't know how many companies inside. It's a huge group of companies
mm-hmm,
basically,
mm-hmm.
and so we deal with other people in other company that is it's remote work level 2, because you not only have a different city, you have guys that you never met before, and you have to meet for the first time, maybe from a different company, from different way to work. So it's the
Mm-hmm.
next level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I think you have a lot of shades of remote and smart
right.
working.
Yeah, I think everybody on some level start starts gradually, like gets into remote work gradually. And I've been
Yeah,
talking to companies about hiring and stuff like that for years now, with Commerce Hero. And it's funny, there was, in the past, pre COVID, there was kind of the companies that hired remote and the companies that didn't. And then I gradually saw, even pre COVID, almost all of them start to open up to hire remote. And sometimes they would start with one person because the person used to work with them, and then they moved to another city, but they said, well, just keep working with us. And everybody has their
yeah,
own way of getting into it. It's never 0 to 100. Um, and, there's a lot of things to kind of figure out.
yeah. But I think now we just have to face. When I say we, I mean we as Italian people, but I think it's more worldwide. We have to face a cultural problem with
Mm-hmm.
remote working.
Mm-hmm.
This is my feeling. Because when you, especially when you talk to someone talking about remote working, they think you're a kind of nerd in a strange room full of screens, no light,
Blinking lights that have a bug in them.
blinking lights, exactly.
Yeah, it's
So it's
true.
yeah,
I think there's a lot of people that say, well, we're just going to wait until. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking to somebody about a job that was in the other part of the country, and I said, well, was it remote? And they said no, they wanted me to move there. And they said that they were, everything is remote now, but they're waiting until everything goes back to normal. And I think some
yeah,
people are just waiting for everything to go back to normal. and they think it will, and maybe it
But
will to a
I
certain
think
extent, you know.
here in Italy we say we got a new normal.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that first of all, I don't think that this COVID experience, let's call it the COVID experience, is finished. Because I'm pretty sure we will have in a way or the other a second wave sooner or later. I hope it will be just a light second wave, and we will be back to home again. I think so. I hope it will not happen, but it may happen. And we will start a new way, I think, to work uh, so this is why, for example, yeah, here in Italy we call it the new normal. We have to understand that
Yeah.
now it changed forever.
Yeah.
I think even when it will disappear, we will be drastically changed because we don't only understood that we could work from home, but we understood that we are so fragile from the society, from the economic perspective, that we are totally changing our way of living our lives.
Yeah.
So it's totally different. For example, what happened here in Italy is that people started to understand what was important to buy. For example, this is why the economy went down at a certain moment. It was not because we had the shop closed. For example, now we are all the shop opened, so there is not a good reason for the economy to not start again. But most of the people are just understood that they must find a new way of living, of using money, of buying, and so on. So I think that it drastically changed the mankind forever. I hope in a good way. So I need to believe it did in a good way, because it was a so scary moment of the human history that must, of course, find a good ending. That must be a good ending. So this is what I think. So we have to understand that probably the smart working we tasted today, it will stay even later, even when everything is over. And this is what happened, for example, at my company. We were forced to stay at home because of the remote working.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the first week with my other two partners, we said, hey, okay, but we will stay at home for a couple of weeks. Then everything will be back to normality,
Back to normal.
and we will go back to the office. After 2 weeks, it was even worse. Hey, come on, how will it ever last? Other 2 weeks, 1 month, and now it's almost 6 months.
Yeah.
And consider it was quite a tough decision, because we had new offices, so we had a quite economic impact in 2019 to create this new office, to buy all the furniture and whatever. And now we're saying we have not that office anymore. We are probably we dismissed that office. We are probably taking one smaller office, because we don't have any more 20 people working in the same place. And we will not go back anymore to the normality, because now it's normality.
Yeah.
When we ask it to, so I think now it can be stressful for my guys to come back to the office.
Yeah.
It's a change. So now it's very normal to stay at home and work from home.
Yeah.
This is why I say that the company managers, especially company managers, have to open their eyes and understand that nothing will be back to normality, because we are now in the normality.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a fan of
it.
remote work for a long time, and have done it myself, and I hope that everybody works remote. I know that it's grown really quickly recently, and maybe it will go to 100% pretty quickly. Maybe it'll go back and forth a little bit. Eventually, over time, it will get there. It'll be virtually 100%. Everybody will work remotely, some capacity, and it's fascinating to see kind of society's evolution with remote work. And it's not always easy. It's like we said in the beginning, for some companies it's easier than others. some were more prepared. Um, I'm curious on the when you said you shifted from hiring junior to hiring senior developers. Going back to that, what was the reason for that shift? Was that because of COVID, or was it before that?
Uh, it was before that, but mainly it's because before we had no time for training. At the end, we just understood we had no time for training,
Mm-hmm.
and then because now we are not sure on how to train people,
Mm-hmm.
so we have to experiment. We have to find a way, a system. We are working on it. I'm working with one of my guys, with one of my front-end developers, to find a system to train people remotely,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not so easy. Because when you are in the office, you just stand up, you ask something, as I told you before. Now you have to send a Slack message, start a Zoom call, or whatever is that, share your screen, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
From one perspective, it can be good because the junior developer starts to understand that he has to auto-train to train himself. But as I told you before, it depends on the mindset, because sometimes you find, especially people that just finished the university, at the first job, they still have an approach as a student. So they want someone teaching them in a kind of vertical session.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this is quite hard to achieve in a remote way. We can still address it with our physical office, but honestly, the other challenging part is to find the time. Because as Magento company, and not only Magento company now, we are overbooked for the next 20 years probably. So we have no time for. I think it's quite common for a Magento company.
Yeah.
So this is why we were trying to hire senior developers.
Gotcha.
At least developers with experience. I mean, with a working experience, with a job experience.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to find.
That makes sense. Speaking of Magento, I know we haven't talked too much about Magento yet in the conversation here. We got about 5 minutes left. What are your thoughts on sort of the current state of Magento? Obviously, there was the 2.4 release, I think yesterday or the day before. The Adobe, situate. Like, what are your thoughts overall on the product, the ecosystem?
Well, about the product, I have good feelings because it's moving to the next level. It's moving to an enterprise level.
Are you pretty involved in community engineering? Are you contributing?
Well, I was used to be involved the last year. Now, to be honest, this year I had no time to work so much on, especially because I was very involved in the MSI project, for example.
That's right. That's what I remembered. Yeah.
I made a lot of contributions for the Magento security and other architectural parts, but in the last year I had not so much time to work on it because I was very busy in 100 of things, and I had no more free time because of the baby, of course. So I couldn't be so involved in the community as I wanted to be. But yeah, talking about what happened to Magento, I have a good feeling from the product perspective. I think, well, to be honest, I hope that will become a real enterprise level product, because now, to be 100% honest, when you say enterprise level products, you think to other products. So Magento is the new entry in the enterprise world, because you have other players there. So Magento is the new guy that must to find its own dimension in this new world. So I hope it will be a real enterprise product level. From the other side, I got a feeling that the community dimension is fading out somehow. I don't know if this is because of the COVID situation. I don't know, or because we have no more events. I don't know exactly. But my feeling is that there is no more that the involvement there was before, probably. And even because since it is moving to an enterprise level, probably they are creating a gap between the small medium business and enterprise level that is too high for most of the companies working with Magento. For example, in fact, now other products are trying to fill that space because since because now Magento was its own competitor with Magento 1, because you had Magento 1 for the small medium business and Magento 2 for the higher business and the enterprise level business. But now, since Magento 1 is no more on the stage and is going to be sooner or later dismissed, actually it's supposed to be dismissed, but most of the people are still running Magento 1. When it will be, actually there will be a gap in the middle. And I think that most of the company will be too big for the small business and too small for the big business. And I don't know what will happen from that point of view. This is another reason why we decided, for example, to make this operation with that company, because in this way we can access. That was one of the reason. Because when you are a company of 20 people, you cannot deal with the giants. And only the giants now can have a Magento, because Magento is very expensive as a product. If you want to have a good level, and I don't want to sell, a low-level product. I want to have an high-level product, and to have it, you have to have enough budget, and not all the companies have that budget.
Right.
And when you are a company of 20 people, you cannot ask for so much money, because they don't. You don't have credibility from that perspective.
Yeah.
So this is it's a kind of confusing feeling now. I have to understand and see what happened.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. It'll be interesting to see where everything goes. And with that, we are pretty much at our time here. So thanks again for joining. And where can people find you online?
Oh, I think the most easy way is Twitter, probably. So my handle is Rick Tempesta.
Okay. Oh, we never got to the story about the Rick. The story about your nickname.
I will make the long story short. It's because you know the actor the Rock.
Oh.
The giant one. Okay, because I had one of my guys that created took the body of the Rock and put my face on the body, and put and down there was the Rick.
The Rick.
So one day Igor Miniailo from the community engineering went to our office, saw that, took a picture, and it became viral. So
I love it.
Now this is why I am the Rick.
That's hilarious. Well, thanks again, the Rick, and thanks everybody for tuning in. Remember to like and subscribe and all that fun stuff, and we will see you next week.